Look at your hand. Really look at it. 5 fingers, a thumb that swings wide, a palm that can grip, pinch, and throw. You probably use it to tap a screen 100 times a day. But that hand was not built for screens. It was built for survival. And here's the part no one tells you. It is still being built right now. Most people think evolution is something that happened, something ancient, something finished. You picture a hairy creature dragging its knuckles across a savanna, and then somewhere along the timeline, it became you. Done. Complete. Final version. But that is not how evolution works. That is not how it has ever worked. Evolution does not stop. It cannot stop. It is not a destination. It is a river. And you are somewhere in the middle of it. Here is what is actually happening right now in your body, in your cells, in the DNA your children will inherit. Humans are evolving faster today than at almost any point in recorded history. Not slower. Faster. And the forces driving that change are unlike anything your ancestors ever faced. Let that sit for a moment. Researchers at the University of Utah, John Hawks, chief among them, published findings in 2007 showing that the rate of human evolution accelerated dramatically in the last 10,000 years. Not the last million. The last 10,000. The moment humans started living in dense agricultural settlements, the pace of genetic change surged. More people, more variation, more selection pressure, more evolution, and it has not slowed down since. So what exactly is changing? What does evolution look like when it is happening to you and not to a creature you would only recognize in a museum? Start with something you have in your mouth right now, or maybe you do not. Wisdom teeth. About 35% of people today are born without all 4 wisdom teeth. Some people are born with none at all. This is not random, it is selection. As human jaws shrank over thousands of years of eating softer cooked food, the teeth that once helped grind raw plants became a problem. Evolution is slowly phasing them out. Your jaw is still getting smaller. The teeth are going with it. Look at your wrist. Flip your hand palm up and press your thumb to your little finger. Do you see a raised tendon running up the middle of your forearm? Some people do. Some people do not. That tendon is called the palmaris longus. It helped your distant primate ancestors grip branches. In humans, it does almost nothing. Around 15% of people are now born without it on one or both arms. Surgeons sometimes harvest it when they need spare tendon tissue because losing it causes zero loss of grip strength. It is disappearing quietly from the human body. These are not just curiosities. They are evolution leaving fingerprints on living people, right now, today. But the most dramatic changes are not in bones and tendons. They are in things you cannot see. They are inside your cells, written into genes that control how your body handles the world you have built around yourself. Take lactase, the enzyme that breaks down lactose, the sugar in milk. For most of human history, almost no adult could digest dairy. Milk was for infants. After weaning, the gene that produces lactase simply switched off. This is still true for most of the world. Around 65% of humans lose the ability to digest lactose after childhood. But in populations with long histories of cattle herding, particularly across northern Europe and parts of East Africa, a genetic mutation appeared that keeps the lactase gene switched on into adulthood. The ability to drink milk without becoming sick. In some northern European populations, that mutation now appears in over 90% of adults. It spread in less than 10,000 years. In evolutionary time, that is a blink. That is natural selection acting on a population within recorded history. Not in the distant past. Within the span of agricultural civilization. Geneticist Sarah Tishkoff at the University of Pennsylvania has studied this same shift in East African pastoral populations. She found the mutation arose independently in multiple places driven by the same pressure. access to a reliable calorie source in the form of animal milk. Bodies that could use it lived longer, had more children, passed the mutation on. Bodies that could not were at a disadvantage. Over generations, the math was simple. That is evolution. That is what it looks like when it is happening. Now here is the part that should unsettle you a little. The world you live in is applying selection pressure to your body right now. Every condition your environment imposes, every disease that threatens you, every food source available to you, every reproductive decision made by you and the people around you, all of it is shaping what traits survive into the next generation. Evolution does not know it is doing this. There is no plan. There is no direction. There is only reproduction and survival over and over until something shifts. Consider antibiotic resistance. Every time a bacterium survives an antibiotic and reproduces, it passes on that survival advantage. You are watching evolution happen in real time inside your own body when you get sick. The microbiome living in your gut right now, the trillions of bacteria that help you digest food and regulate your immune system, is evolving constantly. Researchers like Justin Sonnenberg at Stanford have shown that the human gut microbiome is dramatically different today than it was in pre-industrial populations. It has changed within a single generation in some ways. The bacteria are responding to antibiotics, processed food, and sanitation. And those bacteria influence your health in ways science is only beginning to map. You are not just evolving. The ecosystem inside you is evolving. And then there is something even stranger, something that blurs the line between the body you inherited and the world you created. Geneticists have identified recent, strong selection signals in genes associated with age at first reproduction, educational attainment, and even height. A large 2016 study in PNAS led by Jonathan Beauchamp found evidence that in contemporary Western populations, genes associated with later and fewer childbearing years are under negative selection. People who carry genetic variants associated with higher educational attainment and later reproduction have, on average, slightly fewer children. Over many generations, this creates subtle but measurable shifts in the frequency of those variants in the population. Whether this trend holds or reverses depends on changes in society and medicine that no one can fully predict. This is what makes modern human evolution strange, and unlike any evolution that came before it. Humans now shape their own environment faster than evolution can respond. You build air conditioning so heat is no longer lethal. You develop insulin so a diabetic survives and has children. You create vaccines so diseases that once killed children before they could reproduce no longer do. Medicine does not stop evolution, it redirects it. It changes the selection pressures. It keeps alive genetic variants that once would have been eliminated. And in doing so, it expands the range of what it means to be human. Some scientists argue this makes modern humans less subject to selection than ancestors were. Others argue that with 8 billion people on the planet and massive variation in reproductive rates across different environments, populations, and economic conditions, the raw material for selection has never been more abundant. The debate is unresolved. But what is not in dispute is this: the genome is not static. It was never static. Your DNA carries markers of every plague, every famine, every predator, every new food source your ancestors ever encountered. Each of those events left a trace. A mutation that spread because it helped someone survive. A variant that disappeared because it did not. You are the sum of every ancestor who made it, every single one. The ones who were immune to a disease that killed their neighbors, the ones who could run fast enough, the ones who found food when others starved, the ones who built shelters and fires and tools and social bonds strong enough to keep small, fragile humans alive in environments that should have killed them. And you are not the end of that line. You are somewhere in the middle of it. The children born today will carry variants you do not have, mutations that arose this generation, small shifts in the frequencies of old genes, tiny adjustments in a genome that has been adjusting for 4 million years. Most of those changes will mean nothing. Some will matter enormously in ways we cannot yet predict. A new disease, a shift in climate, a food source that did not exist before. Biology does not care about your plans. It only cares about what survives long enough to reproduce. Here is what that means for you, right now. The thing you are doing at this moment, existing, thinking, reading, breathing, is the result of an unbroken chain of successful reproduction, stretching back to the first single-celled organism that ever managed to copy itself. Every extinction event, every ice age, every pandemic, every predator, every famine, and your ancestors made it through all of them. That is not a small thing. The hand you use to pick up your phone today, the phone your ancient primate grip was never designed to hold, is the same hand that chipped flint, carried infants, pulled fish from rivers, drew on cave walls. The brain reading these words is the same brain that learned to control fire, that built the first cities, that invented writing so that knowledge could outlive the people who discovered it. You are ancient technology running in a new world, and the new world is already rewriting you. Look at your hand again. It is still being built.